The rise and sudden crash of Klein trains. How a single press release wrecked a toy train empire. On this episode of Toy Train Tips and Tricks. Hello again, this is Mike from Toy Train Tips and Tricks. 20 years ago was a magical time for three-rail hobbyists. While Lionel Trains was celebrating a century of toy train production, an unprecedented number of manufacturers were making quality trains for the O-gauge market. Baby boomers, then in the prime of their earning years, were not only buying the post-war trains of their youth, driving prices higher and higher in the process, but they were also purchasing new products of Lionel, MTH, Atlas O, Weaver, Williams, and others. And right in the mix was Klein. In fact, more than in the mix. As 2005 dawned, Klein Trains was firmly established as one of the big three O-gauge train manufacturers, along with Lionel and MTH. But by the end of that year, Klein had all but vanished. How did Klein rise from obscurity to a major power in the world of toy trains, and how did Klein fall so quickly and so dramatically into oblivion? Here's the story. Receiving his first train at age 4, Maury Klein's train collection continued to grow, and by 1974 he was repairing and selling toy trains while completing his studies at the University of North Carolina. He founded MDK in 1975 and was soon selling trains by mail order. By 1979, the firm expanded into manufacturing, making O and O27 track and later American Flyer-style S-gauge track under the name of MDK Klein. In addition, MDK Klein produced a series of repair manuals and layout building guides, largely reprints of post-war Lionel diagrams and brochures. This one is still my go-to source for Lionel post-war repair information. In 1980, MDK purchased the tooling from the old Marx line of Marxville plastic buildings, and by 1981, Kleinville featured a supermarket, police station, school, firehouse, airport hangar, firehouse, ranch house, church, and more. Soon, Klein added reissues of Marx accessories, such as the crossing gate and automatic switch tower. In an oft-repeated story, Maury Klein and his plant manager, Brent Chambers, found the molds for the Marx Model 333 and 1829 steam locomotives in a dilapidated Fisher-Price warehouse near Buffalo, New York in 1984. The warehouse was unlighted, unheated, was missing part of its roof. The Klein versions of the Alco S2 switcher and RDC Bud cars were also based on recast Marx body shells. Unsuccessful with their own line of starter sets, Williams sold most of their former Kusan trains tooling to MDK in 1986, who quickly put it to good use. Klein was now positioned to challenge Lionel in the budget O27 trains market with a full line of rolling stock, accessories, structures, a revamped Kusan FA, and Marx S2 diesels. In addition, a brand new MP15 switcher in 1987 further entrenched Klein in the starter set and budget O27 train market. Klein masterfully arranged for the production of dozens of limited-run, officially licensed sets for firms like Procter & Gamble, True Value Hardware, both Hershey's and Nestle products, and somehow both Pepsi and Coke. These sets proved popular with both train operators and collectors of those various brands. By 1993, Klein offered a 68-page full-color catalog, full of colorful trains including the newly refurbished former Marx 462 Pacific and 464 Hudson steamers, including smoke and whistles in the tender. Klein had tightened its grip on the budget and starter set market with competitively priced, good-running, colorful trains for the O27 line, but the firm had its sights on more. In addition to newly tooled O27 streamlined passenger cars and highly detailed traditional-sized freight cars in its Classics line, by the mid-1990s, Klein also offered a line of full-scale, 72-foot heavyweight passenger cars, a growing roster of steam and diesel locomotives, and contemporary intermodal cars for scale-oriented operators as well. In 1999, Klein introduced a series of scale-detailed extruded aluminum passenger cars in 15-inch, 18-inch, and 21-inch lengths, and many collectors still consider these cars to be the finest streamlined passenger cars ever produced for the three-rail O-gauge market. More scale diesels and steam locomotives soon followed, many using Lionel's TMC command control system under license. K-Line scale products generally held up favorably in both detail and operation, with the finest offerings by Lionel and MTH at the time, and K-Line products were often sold for much less. In fact, many of K-Line's scale offerings were priced at or below cost in an effort to take market share from their two main competitors. By the dawn of 2005, K-Line's future looked bright indeed. Their product line spanned the gamut from scale models of classic steam and contemporary SD70 diesels, to innovative accessories like the Super Street lines, to budget products like the under $50 Husky line of Geeps, and the well-built but budget-priced Train 19 line of rolling stock aimed at the starter market. But it would soon come crashing down. Throughout the 1990s and early 2000s, K-Line, MTH, and Lionel frequently ran ads attacking one another as the competition for toy train dollars intensified. In a move that would prove disastrous, K-Line hired several former Lionel employees and hired a current Lionel employee as a consultant in an attempt to speed up product development and improve model technology. When K-Line introduced a new Power Chief transformer, Lionel noticed striking similarities between this design and the Lionel CW80 transformer. Likewise, K-Line's new locomotive cruise control circuitry mimicked Lionel's Odyssey system. Lionel soon found other similarities in K-Line's new tech and quickly determined the sources of the apparent information leaks. The Lion roared and took K-Line to court for patent infringement in July 2005. Mere weeks later, on August 10, 2005, the two sides reached a quick and amicable out-of-court settlement. K-Line agreed to withdraw all of the tech in question by the end of January 2006, pay back royalties to Lionel for the disputed tech until then, and pay Lionel $700,000 in legal fees. K-Line would also license some of their new tech to Lionel going forward. This was a very generous settlement on Lionel's part. The financial burden would certainly have harmed K-Line in the short run, but with an estimated $7 million in annual sales according to court documents, K-Line could still have had a successful 2005 holiday season with the products already in the pipeline, and would survive to make trains another day. Lionel's public statement regarding the settlement said, in part, quote, "Under the terms of the settlement, K-Line and the other defendants, Maury, Klein, and Robert Grubba, admitted that they paid Lionel's chief engineer to develop advanced versions of Lionel's operating systems and features that were used in a number of K-Line's engines and electrical transformers. They further admitted that these products actually contain Lionel's technology and are currently for sale in the marketplace." In late July, Lionel filed a complaint against K-Line, its owner Maury Klein and Robert Grubba, a former Lionel employee now working for K-Line. The train maker claimed that the defendants had enlisted Marty Pearson, then Lionel's employee and chief engineer, to work surreptitiously with K-Line and incorporate Lionel's current sound, speed control, and electrical transformers into some of the K-Line products. The statement pulled no punches in assigning blame squarely on the shoulders of K-Line and its owner. They had cheated and had been caught. K-Line's public statement announcing the settlement told a different story altogether. They wrote in part, quote, "While K-Line hired as an outside consultant a Lionel engineer, he was not hired to develop advances on Lionel technology, but to create superior alternatives. For example, K-Line's cruise control is not related in any way to Lionel's Odyssey system. The sound and speed control products were developed by Marty Pearson in collaboration with K-Line engineers. However, certain agreements he signed as a Lionel employee gave Lionel a claim of ownership of this work." K-Line flatly denied all guilt in the matter and argued that Lionel was winning the case by a technicality. This was a monumental mistake. Lionel furiously claimed that K-Line's statement was a violation of the terms of the settlement, and on August 22nd, the court agreed and placed an immediate injunction on the sale of any and all disputed technology. K-Line filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection the following day, and a new settlement was reached with Lionel on October 27, 2005. This new settlement placed an immediate and permanent ban on K-Line's use of the disputed technology, required $2 million in damages to be paid to Lionel, and ensured Lionel's royalty-free use of certain canine patents. In effect, it was the death penalty for Klein. Any disputed tech that had not already been delivered to canine dealers and customers was embargoed, so there would be no holiday season for Klein in 2005. The combination of the financial damages to Lionel and the loss of royalty and sales income, combined with its own legal fees, made it impossible for Klein to continue operations. Shipments of products to dealers were placed on hold, as the embargo affected not only high-end locomotives but also starter set transformers. With little income, Klein was also unable to pay its suppliers, and the company laid off workers. By December 2005, all Klein operations had ceased. It was over. On February 16, 2006, Lionel announced that it had purchased Klein. Ironically, Lionel was itself in bankruptcy protection due to its own ongoing $40 million legal case with MTH Trains concerning Lionel's illegal use of MTH's intellectual property. After the required approval by the bankruptcy courts, the deal was finalized on April 18, 2006. Lionel transferred ownership of most of Klein's assets to Chinese firm Sandakan to pay off Klein's manufacturing debts, and they, in turn, licensed the Klein name and intellectual property back to Lionel. Lionel agreed to honor and fulfill any outstanding orders of Klein products. Meanwhile, Sandakan briefly formed Sun Models Corp as a means of liquidating unsold Klein inventory. Lionel continued to produce Klein products under the Klein by Lionel banner until 2010, and then the Klein name disappeared. Sandakan then sold much of Klein's tooling to other firms, such as Williams by Bachmann, Atlas O, and Ready Made Trains. Today, the only firm producing starter sets for the three-rail market is Lionel. Their dedication to Lion Chief remote technology means that no one is producing low-cost, conventionally controlled O-gauge sets. And while Lionel's Bluetooth technology is impressive, it also comes with an equally impressive price tag that pushes many families out of the toy train market. Might we someday see a new starter set led by a reissued Klein Pacific or MP15? Time will tell. Tooling seems to last forever in the toy train market, and someday, someone may decide that the time is right for a Klein revival. Until then, Klein trains will live on in online auctions, at train shows, and in the fond memories of their former owners. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed making it, and if so, please tell your friends and neighbors, and especially that YouTube algorithm, by giving us a like, a share, subscribe, or comment about your memories of Klein trains. And don't forget to check the video description for links to some of the trains I mentioned in this episode. Whatever brand you have, keep the trains running, and we'll see you next time on Toy Train Tips and Tricks.